What kind of exercises do you employ when a girl says, I really want to get a big butt?
Yeah. All right, hip thrust. The thrust is a must. Like we must do hip thrusts. And there are lots of variations, but if you can, I just want someone to do the basics first. Like I see people do, I see women doing all these like fancy different variations and like lightweight and high reps, but they're, again, to grow a muscle, we must lift heavy and we must eat.
Right.
Okay. So oftentimes women are like eating next to nothing and then they're like hip thrusting a ton, but not a lot of weight. And maybe they're doing it like 4 times a week. And then they're doing like crazy banded variations and then like cable kickbacks. And there are a lot of things you can do, but it seems really overwhelming if you like think about all of the different things you can do. Hip thrust is one of the only exercises that isolates just the glutes, okay? So if done properly. So hip thrust with a lot of weight. Make sure you are eating properly and your glutes will grow. Kickbacks are great too. I don't mind cable kickbacks. They're great. So if you like strap something around your ankle, it's attached to the cable machine and you like you're in a bent over position, you're kicking back. So whether it's straight leg or bent leg, but there's also great kickback machines. So we have at SIG, we have the old school, like the 80s, 90s piece, the butt blaster.
Oh yeah.
Like, funny name, but like old school gyms will have that piece because they don't actually make that one anymore. And it's
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if I go into a gym and I see they have it, I'm like, okay, this is legit. Like it's a good piece. So that's, you're like actually in like a quadruped position. So like all fours and you're kicking one foot up and back against a pad to like press through your glutes. And then we have another the plate loaded kickback machine as well. So kickbacks are great. Squats and deadlifts, awesome. Now, obviously, they're going to build your legs too, but there are variations you can do that are going to target the glutes a little bit more. Mind muscle connection is super important. Like a lot of times people have poor squat form or poor deadlift form because their glutes are not engaged or their glutes are not strong. So I will always tell people, actually, this happens a lot with my male clients. They have the hardest time engaging their glutes. So I have my male clients hip thrust just as much as my female clients. And oftentimes what we'll do on like a lower body workout is we're hip thrusting first and early in the workout so that they can connect with their glutes, they can prime them, and then we'll go on to whatever else is next, whether it's heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, sumo squats, power squat movements, the hack squat movements, but we are priming and connecting their glutes first, not only for aesthetics, but because the glutes are so helpful in moving weight because they're just a big muscle group. So, but for aesthetics as well, the sumo squat is really great. I like the sumo squat in the Smith machine and not with the barbell on your back, but with the barbell between your legs. So it's almost like you're doing a sumo deadlift, but you're squatting instead.
Okay.
So you're getting that, you're sending your hips and butt back, you're getting that stretching the hamstrings and the glutes. You could do the same thing on, the power squat machine, that silver one that's off in the corner, right near right in the
where it wraps around your waist.
No, that's the pit shark. That's the belt squat, the pit shark. That's a good one too. But the power squat, we have the Cybex power squat, but that's it's right near like the hip thrust machine.
Okay.
But that's one, it kind of looks like you're getting into like a captain's seat. So some people may recognize.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you could face forward or you could face reverse. But if you face the machine and have it kind of sitting on your shoulders, feet nice and wide, send your hips and butt back towards the mural of Sean that's behind it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And so you get a nice stretch in the hamstrings and the glutes there. So those are really great options as well. And then step ups are great, making sure you're engaging the glutes, and then Romanian deadlifts, prime for the glutes. So
okay, explain a Romanian deadlift.
So Romanian, so there's lots of different deadlift variations, but like Romanian deadlifts, we want to generally keep the legs. You don't want to keep the knees locked, but the legs are going to be straighter. So again, the difference between a deadlift and a squat, which I'm sure most of your viewers know, is squat is more like a knee bend and the deadlift is more of a hip hinging movement. So the hips are going to stay higher than the knees. The Romanian deadlift, you're still going to be deadlifting. So you're going to be keeping your hips high, but your hips are higher than in a conventional deadlift. And so what the image that I always give, there's a couple images I'll give my clients is, again, hips and butt back while you paint roll your legs with the weight. So whether it's dumbbells or a barbell, whatever, you're paint rolling your legs. I don't care how far down the weight comes. I don't care how far down your chest goes. but I want you to envision stretching your hamstrings and your glutes and sending your hips as far back as they can go. That's going to give you a little bit of a bend in the knees, but only because your hips have to go so far back. So think about, you go grocery shopping. You take all your groceries out of the car. How do you close the car door? How do you close the car door, John?
I hit the button.
Gosh, I can't ask this question in 2022. Okay. Another wrong answer was like, we're like, oh, I kicked the door. I'm like, well, that's why your car is in the state that it's in. We're not, you want to hit the door with your butt, right? So you'd send your butt straight back.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
I guess not really a great analogy. Imagine someone like throws, like lassos you, okay? So they have a rope, they lasso you, it lands right around your hips and they pull backwards. You're not just going to go flying backwards. You're probably going to try to fight that, dig your feet into the ground, and it's going to pull your hips backwards, right?
Okay.
That hip hinging movement. If you are able to master the hip hinging movement, it's going to stretch your glutes, and we want those muscle fibers stretched, loaded, and then you want to come back and contract and squeeze them. So that's the key. And same thing in the hip thrust. Any hip hinging movement is